black titanium credit card hits the counter with a sound that doesn't belong in this place. Bennett Crossley watches his own hand pull back, watches the fluorescent lights glint off metal that costs more than most people earn in a year, watches a small black girl stare at it like he just handed her a live grenade. Her fingers hover 2 inches above the card. She won't touch it. The cashier's mouth hangs open. Someone behind him drops a can. It rolls across linoleum that smells like bleach and old produce, the sound echoing through checkout lane 3 like a countdown timer nobody asked for. 1 hour, Bennett says. His voice comes out quieter than he planned. You can use it for 1 hour. The girl shakes her head so hard her uneven braids whip across her face. Her red dress has a torn shoulder that exposes a white tank top underneath, stained with something brown near the collar. No shoes. Just worn sandals with soles so thin he can see her heels pressing through the rubber. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. She shoves the card back toward him with both palms, eyes wide, breath coming fast through her nose. Her mouth stays closed, completely closed. Not the way people close their mouths when they're thinking, the way they close them when sound doesn't come anymore. Bennett looks at the crumpled note still sitting on the counter between them. 3 sentences in pencil, letters pressed so hard the paper has small tears around each word. I am deaf. I am hungry. Please. The cashier, a woman with gray roots showing through box dye red, crosses her arms. Sir, you can't just give random kids your credit card. That's not how this works. It works however I say it works. Bennett picks up the card again. The girl flinches backward, shoulders curling in, and something in that movement punches through his chest. He recognizes that flinch. That's not surprise. That's muscle memory. He crouches down until they're eye level. She smells like motel soap and sweat. Her eyes are brown with flecks of gold near the pupils, and they're locked on his face like she's trying to read a language she doesn't trust. Stay in the store, he says, knowing she can't hear him. He points at the floor, then at her, then traces a circle in the air. Her eyes follow his hand. 1 hour. Buy food. He holds the card out again. She doesn't move. Behind him, someone mutters, "This is insane." Another voice says, "That's how kids get trafficked." A third person pulls out their phone. He hears the camera shutter sound once, twice. Bennett keeps his hands steady. His knees hurt from crouching on cheap tile. His suit jacket pulls tight across his shoulders. He looks ridiculous. He knows this. A man who showed up in a grocery store without a driver for the first time in 5 years. Now crouched in front of a child who probably thinks he's another adult about to hurt her. The girl's hands shake as she reaches forward. She takes the card with just her fingertips, holding it the way you'd hold something that might explode. Her eyes dart to the cashier, to the people watching, back to Bennett. He nods. She pulls the card to her chest, clutching it with both hands now, and her whole body goes rigid, waiting for someone to laugh, for someone to grab her, for the trap to spring. Bennett stands up slowly. His knees crack. The cashier stares at him like he just announced he's running for president naked. The man behind him whispers to his wife, "I'm calling someone." "Don't," Bennett says without turning around. "You call anyone. I own this store by tomorrow morning." The whisper stops. Bennett looks at the girl one more time. She's still frozen, still clutching the card, still waiting for the world to punish her for wanting food. Her note sits on the counter. The cashier hasn't touched it. Nobody's touched it. Just a piece of paper with 3 sentences that should have been enough. He checks his watch. 1 hour, he says again, more to himself than anyone else. Then he walks toward the exit, past the produce section with its pyramid of apples, past the discount bread rack, past the bulletin board covered in lost pet flyers and house cleaning ads. His reflection follows him in the security monitors mounted near the ceiling. A man in a $12,000 suit walking away from a decision he can't take back. The automatic doors slide open. Cold air hits his face. His phone buzzes in his pocket. Probably his assistant, probably wondering where he disappeared to, probably expecting him to be somewhere that matters. He stops just outside the door. Through the glass, he can still see checkout lane 3. The girl hasn't moved. She's still standing there, card pressed against her chest, surrounded by strangers who look at her like she's something dirty that wandered in from outside. Bennett's chest tightens again. Different this time. Sharper. He realizes with sudden, stomach-dropping clarity that he just gave a credit card with no limit to a child he doesn't know. In a store full of people who already decided she's a problem, with security cameras tracking her every move and exactly zero plan for what happens next. His hand reaches for the door handle. Then he stops. Trust me, he told her. With his hands, with his eyes, with the kind of certainty he hasn't felt about another human being in years. So he turns around, walks to his car, sits in the driver's seat of a Range Rover that costs more than 3 years of groceries. And he waits. 60 minutes. That's all he gave her. What could possibly go wrong in 60 minutes? What would you do if a stranger gave you unlimited money for 1 hour? Buy what you need or test how much you can take. Bennett's mother left on a Tuesday. He was 7. Old enough to remember the sound of her heels on hardwood, the way her perfume lingered in the hallway for 3 days after, the space at the dinner table that his father filled with a briefcase instead of a person. Not old enough to understand that some people choose money over messy things like children who cry. His father, Jonathan Crossley, senior partner at a law firm that represented companies, not people, looked at him exactly once after she left. "You're fine," he said. Not a question. A statement. An instruction. So Bennett became fine. He learned to do his own laundry at 8, made his own meals at 9, figured out how to forge his father's signature on permission slips by 10. The house had 17 rooms and felt like a waiting area. Clean, quiet, empty of anything that required emotional maintenance. By 12, Bennett stopped expecting his father to show up to school events. By 14, he stopped inviting him. By 16, they communicated through lawyers' assistants and wire transfers. His father paid for everything except presents. College was MIT, then Stanford for business, then 3 startups that failed before he built the one that didn't, an algorithm that predicted consumer behavior so accurately it made marketing firms obsolete. He sold it at 28 for an amount that had 9 zeros. Then he built another one, and another. By 34, Bennett Crossley had more money than his father ever made. He bought the law firm just to shut it down, sent his father a severance check with a note that said, "You're fine." They hadn't spoken in 6 years. People called Bennett a genius, called him focused, called him the clean billionaire. No scandals, no leaked photos, no messy divorces because he never let anyone close enough to marry. He dated occasionally. Professional women who understood that dinner meant networking and sex meant stress relief and emotional vulnerability meant the relationship was over. He trusted code, numbers, systems that behaved exactly as designed. People were different. People lied. People left. People wanted things from you and called it love. So Bennett built walls out of efficiency. He controlled his schedule down to 15-minute blocks, controlled his diet, his sleep, his social interactions, controlled who had access to him when and for how long. Control meant safety. Control meant nobody could hurt him because he never gave them the chance. That's why this morning shouldn't have happened. His driver canceled, some family emergency Bennett didn't ask about. His assistant called in sick with food poisoning. The meeting he was supposed to attend got moved to virtual. Suddenly, he had 3 hours of empty calendar and a refrigerator containing sparkling water and meal prep containers from a service that charged $40 per entree. He needed coffee. Real coffee. The kind that didn't come from his espresso machine that cost more than most cars. So he drove himself. Found a grocery store off Route 33, the kind with shopping carts that had wobbly wheels and a parking lot full of Hondas with expired inspection stickers. He parked between a minivan with child car seats and a truck with a protected by Smith & Wesson bumper sticker. Inside, everything felt wrong. Too bright, too loud, too full of people who looked at him like he'd taken a wrong turn on his way to somewhere that mattered. His suit stood out like a tuxedo at a barbecue. He grabbed a cart just to blend in, started walking down aisles he'd never needed before. That's when he saw her. Small, black, barefoot in broken sandals. standing at checkout lane 3 with a note that 3 people had already ignored. And Bennett, who built his entire life around not feeling things, felt something crack open inside his chest. Not pity. He hated pity. Pity was what people performed to feel better about themselves. This was recognition. He looked at that girl and saw himself at 7. Invisible. Hungry for something that wasn't food. Standing in spaces where nobody bothered to see him because seeing meant caring and caring meant staying. She held that note like it was the only voice she had left. So Bennett did the thing he never did. The thing his entire adult life was designed to prevent. He made an impulsive decision based on emotion instead of logic. He gave her his credit card. Now, sitting in his Range Rover with 43 minutes left on the hour he promised her, Bennett wonders if he just made the biggest mistake of his life or the first real choice he's made in decades. His phone buzzes. His assistant, texting through her food poisoning. "Where are you?" Board meeting moved back to in-person. "They need you in 90 minutes. Bennett types back, "Busy." 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. Then, busy with what? He looks through the windshield at the grocery store entrance. Watches people walk in and out with plastic bags, reusable totes, carts full of bulk toilet paper and discount cereal. Normal people doing normal things. He types, "Something that matters." Then he turns off his phone. 39 minutes left. If you had to choose between the life you built to protect yourself and the person you were before you learned to hide, which one would you save? Nyelle Brooks knows what hunger feels like. Not the kind people mean when they skip lunch. The real kind. The kind that wakes you up at 3 in the morning with stomach cramps that double you over. The kind that makes you drink water until you feel sick just so something's in your belly. The kind that teaches you which gas stations throw away food that's still good, which fast food dumpsters get locked, which church pantries ask questions, and which ones just hand you a bag. She's 8 years old. She learned all of this by 6. The Route 17 motel where she lives with her mother charges by the week. $140 for a room with 2 beds, a bathroom where the shower only runs cold, and a hot plate that works if you don't plug in anything else at the same time. The sheets smell like cigarettes from whoever stayed there before. The carpet has stains that were there when they moved in 3 months ago. The people in the next room fight every night around midnight. Nyelle's mother, Keisha Brooks, 26 years old, used to work at a call center before the pills made her hands shake too much to type. Sleeps most days. When she's awake, she's either crying or talking to men Nyelle doesn't like. Men with loud voices and rough hands. Men who look at Nyelle the way wolves look at rabbits. That's why Nyelle learned to be quiet. Quieter than quiet. Invisible. Being deaf helped with that. She lost her hearing at 4. Meningitis, the hospital said. They gave her mother papers about early intervention and speech therapy and hearing aids. Her mother kept the papers in a drawer under old bills and expired coupons. They never went back. So Nyelle learned to read lips, learned to watch body language, learned that people talk more with their hands and faces than their mouths anyway. Learned that being deaf in a hearing world means you're either ignored or treated like you're stupid. Learned that social workers who visit the motel ask questions her mother lies through, and they always believe the adult. School stopped 3 weeks ago. Her mother forgot to re-enroll her. Nyelle stopped reminding her. This morning, Nyelle woke up to an empty room. Her mother's purse was gone. The hot plate was cold. The little bit of cereal they had left was gone too. Box tipped over on the counter, empty except for crumbs. She checked her mother's bed. Sometimes there's money tucked under the mattress. Sometimes there's pills. Today there was nothing. Her stomach hurt, had hurt for 2 days. She put on her red dress, the only one that still fit, even with the torn shoulder and the stains she couldn't wash out in the motel sink. Found her sandals under the bed. They used to have little flowers on the straps. Now they just had dirt and cracks. She walked. The grocery store was 2 miles from the motel. She'd passed it before with her mother, back when her mother still left the room for things besides pills. It looked bright, clean, safe. The kind of place where people didn't yell at you for existing. Nyelle practiced what she'd do the whole walk there. She wrote the note on paper she found in a gas station trash can. Used a pencil she took from the library back when school was still a thing. Wrote the words carefully because handwriting was one thing teachers said she was good at before they stopped expecting anything from her at all. I am deaf. I am hungry. Please. 3 sentences. That's all. That should be enough. It wasn't enough. The first person she showed it to, a woman in yoga pants carrying organic bananas, looked at the note, looked at Nyelle and walked away without even shaking her head. Just walked away like Nyelle was a trash bag someone left in the aisle. The second person, an old man with a cart full of cat food, squinted at the note, then waved her away with his hand. Go find your parents, he mouthed, loud enough she could read his lips, loud enough he wanted her to know he didn't care. The third person called her a scam artist. She was 12, maybe 13, but she called Nyelle a scam artist and told her friend, they train kids to do this. It's organized. Nyelle's hands started shaking. She backed away from the crowd forming near the deli counter, backed away from the stairs, found herself near the checkout lanes. She saw the bread, pre-sliced white bread in plastic bags, 99 cents. She had no sense. She saw the deli meat, the cheap kind, turkey, $2. She had no dollars. She pulled out her note. Her hands shook so hard the paper rattled. The cashier, a tired woman with dye-job red hair, glanced at the note and sighed like Nyelle was an interruption instead of a person. No, get lost. Nyelle tried again, pointed to the bread, pointed to the meat, pointed to the note. I said no, you're holding up the line. Behind her, people groaned. Someone said, just move her. Someone else pulled out their phone. That's when the man appeared, tall, black suit, face that didn't match this place. He looked at her the way nobody had looked at her in months, like she was actually there, like she mattered. He read her note. Then he gave her a credit card that felt like metal and fear and impossible all at once. Now Nyelle stands in aisle 7, gripping a shopping cart with white knuckles, trying to understand what just happened while a security guard watches her from the end of the aisle and cameras track her from the ceiling. She has 1 hour. She has a credit card that probably works. She has a stranger's trust she doesn't understand and didn't earn. And she has 56 minutes to figure out if this is help or a trap before everything goes wrong again. When someone finally helps you, how do you know if you're being saved or set up? The bread goes in first. Nyelle places it carefully in the cart, like it might vanish if she moves too fast. White bread, 99 cents, the same kind they used to get before her mother stopped buying groceries. The plastic crinkles under her fingers. She can feel the softness of the loaf through the packaging. Her stomach makes a sound she feels more than hears. She moves to the next aisle. Price, 5-pound bag, $3. She lifts it with both hands, heavier than she expected, and sets it in the cart next to the bread. The bag shifts, settles. Real, solid. Someone walks past her, an old woman with a cane. She looks at Nyelle, at the cart, at Nyelle again. Her mouth moves. Nyelle doesn't know what she says, but the expression is clear enough. Suspicion, judgment. Nyelle keeps walking. Canned soup, chicken noodle, store brand, 79 cents. She takes 4 cans, stacks them in the cart like building blocks. They clink against each other, metal on metal, a sound she feels through the cart handle. The security guard is still there, different aisle now, but still watching. He's young, maybe 25, with a radio clipped to his belt and a name tag that says Marcus. His arms are crossed. He's not even pretending to do anything else, just watching her. Nyelle's hands start shaking again. She grips the cart tighter. Milk, 1 gallon. Whole milk, $2.49. She opens the refrigerator case. Cold air rushes out, makes her skin prickle, and reaches for the jug. Heavy. She uses both hands, sets it carefully in the cart. The plastic sweats condensation. It drips onto the bread bag. A woman stops at the other end of the aisle, pulls out her phone, points it at Nyelle. The camera flash goes off. Nyelle's chest tightens. She looks down at the cart, keeps moving. Peanut butter, crunchy, store brand, $1.89. She takes the smallest jar. It fits in her hand like a promise. Protein, she remembers from a health class a long time ago. Protein keeps you full longer. She's halfway through the store. 30 minutes left, probably. Maybe less. She doesn't have a watch. Doesn't have a phone. Can't check the time. The pharmacy aisle appears on her left. Nyelle stops walking. She knows what she came here for: bread, meat, things you eat. But now she's looking at shelves full of things you need when eating isn't enough. Band-aids, antibiotics, thermometer, aspirin. Her mother's been coughing for a week. That wet kind of cough that sounds wrong even if you can't hear it. Nyelle knows because she can feel it through the motel walls when her mother sleeps. Feel the shaking. Feel the pauses that last too long. The thermometer costs $6.99. The antibiotics, amoxicillin, the over-the-counter kind that's probably expired but better than nothing, cost $12. The bandages cost $3. She looks at the credit card in her pocket, pulls it out, looks at the name printed in small letters. Bennett Crossley. She doesn't know what a Bennett Crossley is. Doesn't know why he gave her this card. Doesn't know if she's stealing or borrowing or being tested. But she knows her mother needs antibiotics more than she needs another can of soup. She puts them in the cart. A woman gasps behind her. Loud enough Nyelle feels it, the way you feel sudden movement even when you can't hear it. She turns. The woman is staring at her, mouth open, pointing at the cart. "Someone stop her," the woman says. Nyelle can read the lips. She's taking medicine. She's going to overdose or sell it, or someone do something. An employee appears. Young guy, maybe 18, wearing a green vest and a confused expression. He looks at Nyelle, at the cart, at the woman still pointing. "Miss," he says. His lips move slowly, like he's talking to someone stupid. "Do you have money for this?" Nyelle pulls out the card, holds it up. The employee's eyes go wide. He reaches for his radio. Nyelle's heart hammers against her ribs. Her hands sweat. The card feels slippery in her fingers. This is it, she thinks. This is where it ends. This is where they drag her to the back room and call the police and put her somewhere worse than the motel. This is where trusting someone finally breaks her. But the employee doesn't grab her. He just talks into his radio. His lips move too fast for her to follow. He keeps looking at her like she's a problem he didn't sign up to solve. Then he walks away, just walks away. Nyelle stands there, frozen, waiting for the trap to spring, waiting for hands to grab her shoulders, waiting for the manager or the police or someone to tell her she was stupid for believing in hour-long miracles. Nothing happens. The security guard Marcus is still watching, but he hasn't moved. The woman who gasped has her phone out now, filming. Other people slow down as they pass, looking at Nyelle like she's a show they didn't pay for. But nobody stops her. Nyelle's legs feel weak. She puts the card back in her pocket, grips the cart, keeps walking. One more thing, just one more. Hearing aid batteries, size 312, the kind her mother bought once, back when they had insurance, back when her mother still believed fixing things was possible. $8 for a pack of 6. Nyelle reaches for them with trembling hands. Then she sees the customer service desk, sees the manager standing there, sees the way he's looking at her, not suspicious, exactly, more like confused, like he can't figure out what category to put her in. Thief? Charity case? Someone's weird social experiment? Nyelle makes a decision. She pushes the cart toward the desk. Every step feels like walking off a cliff. Every eye in the store follows her. The manager crosses his arms. The security guard moves closer. She stops in front of the desk, pulls out the credit card, places it gently on the counter. Then she pulls out her pencil and a new piece of paper. Her hands shake so hard the letters come out crooked. But she writes anyway. "Can you help others?" She slides the paper across the counter. Next to the card. Next to a cart full of food and medicine and hope she probably shouldn't have. The manager reads the note. He laughs. It's not a mean laugh. Not exactly. It's the kind of laugh adults do when kids say something they think is cute but stupid. The kind that means nice try, but we live in reality. "Sweetheart," he says. She reads his lips, This isn't a charity. And that card. He picks it up, looks at it, and his expression changes. The laugh dies. Where did you get this? Nyelle points to the note, points to the food, points to nothing because there's no sign language for a man I don't know gave it to me and I don't understand why, but please don't take this away because I haven't eaten in 2 days and my mother is sick and I'm so tired of being invisible. Security, the manager calls. Marcus comes over. Another guard too. Older, bigger. The manager hands them the card. She's got a black card. No ID. No adult. No explanation. He looks at Nyelle again. Where are your parents? Nyelle doesn't answer. Can't answer. Even if she could talk, what would she say? Check the cameras, the older guard says. See if she came in with anyone. Check her pockets, the manager adds. See what else she's got. Nyelle's breath comes faster. Her vision blurs at the edges. She knows this feeling. Panic. The kind that makes you small. Makes you disappear even when you're standing right there. The older guard reaches for her arm. That's when everything goes wrong. When the world finally sees you, why is it only to punish you for being visible? Bennett's watch reads 58 minutes when the police lights appear. He's out of the car before his brain catches up to his body. The Range Rover door hangs open behind him. Alarm dinging because he didn't close it properly. Keys still in the ignition because he doesn't care. His shoes hit pavement, Italian leather on cracked asphalt, and he's running. Running. He hasn't run anywhere in years. Running is inefficient. Running is what people do in emergencies. This is an emergency. He bursts through the automatic doors hard enough they stutter on their track. The entrance is crowded. People clustered near checkout, phones out, that particular kind of excited whisper crowds make when something bad is happening to someone else. A woman in a Target employee vest stands by the door on her phone, saying something about a situation and detaining a minor. Bennett pushes through. Sir, you can't. Someone starts. He keeps walking, past produce, past discount bread, toward the cluster of people and noise and wrongness. That's when he sees her, Nyelle, small inside a circle of adults, security guards on either side, manager in front. A police officer crouched down, trying to make her look at him while she stares at the floor with her shoulders curved so far forward she's almost folded in half. The shopping cart sits abandoned 3 feet away. Bread, rice, soup, medicine, all of it still there. None of it stolen. None of it paid for. The credit card is on the customer service counter. Bennett stops walking. The manager sees him, looks at his suit, at his face, at the way every other person in the store is watching what happens next. Sir, are you with this child? What's happening here? Bennett's voice comes out calmer than he feels. The trick to negotiation is sounding like you already won. This child. The manager gestures at Nyelle like she's evidence. Has your credit card. Claims you gave it to her. For 1 hour. He says it like it's the stupidest thing he's ever heard. Now she's asking us to use it to help other people. It's clearly stolen. We've called her parents. We've called. It's not stolen. Bennett walks forward. The crowd parts. I gave it to her. Silence drops like a weight. The manager's face does something complicated. You gave a child your credit card? That's what I said. For 1 hour. 58 minutes, actually. Bennett checks his watch. She's under time. The police officer stands up. He's young, maybe 30, with the kind of face that wants to believe in rules because rules make life simpler. Sir, I'm going to need to see some ID. We need to verify. Bennett Crossley. He pulls out his wallet, hands over his license. That's my card. I gave it to her. She has my permission to use it. What's the problem? The officer looks at the ID, looks at Bennett, looks at the card on the counter. His expression shifts, recognition maybe, or the beginning of understanding that this situation just got complicated. Mr. Crossley, you're saying you gave a minor, a child you don't know, unlimited access to your credit card? For 1 hour? Yes. Why would you do that? Bennett looks at Nyelle. She's still staring at the floor, still folded into herself, still breathing too fast. Because she asked for help, he says quietly. And I could. The manager laughs. That same dismissive sound he probably used on Nyelle. So this is what? Some billionaire social experiment? Let's see what the poor kid does with money. His face is red now. Angry. You don't get to use my store as your personal charity case playground. You don't get to. Show me the footage. Everyone stops. Excuse me? The manager says. Security footage. Bennett points at the cameras mounted near the ceiling. From the last hour. Show me what she did. The manager's jaw works. That's private store. Show me the footage, or I buy this store tomorrow and fire you before lunch. Bennett's voice doesn't rise. Doesn't need to. Money talks quietly when it knows it's already won. Your choice. The manager's face goes from red to white. Fine, he says. Fine. But when you see what she did, when you see her stealing, she didn't steal anything. The words come from an employee standing near the pharmacy aisle. Young black woman, maybe 22, name tag that says Shanice. She's looking at her phone. I've been watching her the whole time. She paid, or tried to. She tried to pay at self-checkout, but the card got declined because it needed a PIN. So she brought everything back. Put the cart at customer service. Asked if the card could help other people instead. Shanice looks up at the manager. She didn't steal. Y'all just decided she did. The manager's mouth opens, closes. The police officer looks at Shanice, at the manager. Bennett, is this true? Check the system, Shanice says. Self-checkout attempt at 3:47. Card declined. No PIN. Everything's still in that cart. Nothing's missing. The officer walks to the cart, checks the items, checks the receipt printer at the customer service desk. His radio crackles with static and voices, but he ignores it. Then he looks at the manager. Why is she being detained? She had a credit card that belongs to him. The officer points at Bennett. And she tried to pay for items. Didn't steal. Didn't damage anything. Didn't cause a disturbance. His voice gets harder. So why exactly did you call me? The manager opens his mouth. Nothing comes out. Bennett walks past all of them. Past the officer. Past the security guards. Past the manager whose face is doing complicated math about lawsuits and bad press. He crouches in front of Nyelle. She doesn't look up. Hey! Bennett says softly. Nothing. He reaches out slowly, gives her time to see his hand coming, and taps her shoulder once. Gentle. Just enough for contact. She flinches, but she looks up. Her eyes are wet. Not crying exactly. More like trying so hard not to cry that her whole face hurts. Her lip is bleeding where she bit it. Her hands are balled into fists so tight her knuckles look gray. Bennett pulls out his phone, opens the Notes app. Types slowly. I'm sorry. This is my fault. You did nothing wrong. He shows her the screen. She reads it. Then she looks at him with an expression that breaks something in his chest. It's not gratitude. It's not relief. It's doubt. Pure, learned doubt. The kind that says you're lying. Everyone lies. Why would you be different? Bennett types again. Do you want to try again? With me this time? She stares at the words for a long time. Long enough the crowd starts shifting. Long enough the officer clears his throat. Long enough Bennett starts to think he's already lost whatever fragile trust he built. Then she nods. Once. Small. Bennett stands up. Looks at the officer. We're checking out now. Together. Unless you have an actual reason to stop us. The officer looks at Nyelle. Bennett. At the manager who's gone completely silent. No, he says finally. No reason. Bennett picks up the cart. Nyelle stays 2 feet behind him, not quite following, not quite running. They walk to check out lane 3, the same one where this started. The same tired cashier with box-dye red hair. She sees them coming and sighs. Bennett starts loading items onto the belt. Bread, rice, soup, milk, medicine, batteries. The cashier scans each one without looking at either of them. The total climbs. $43, $61, $78. 8453, she says flatly. Bennett holds out his credit card. No PIN needed. Run it as credit. She does. The machine beeps. Receipt prints. Bennett takes the bags. All of them. Nyelle reaches for one, but he shakes his head. He carries them out through the automatic doors, through the parking lot, to his Range Rover that's still running with the door open. He sets the bags in the back seat. Then he looks at Nyelle, standing 5 feet away on the curb, looking at him like he's a puzzle with missing pieces. Bennett pulls out his phone again. Where do you need to go? She reads it. Her hands move sign language, fast and fluid. He doesn't understand any of it. She stops, realizes, pulls out her pencil and paper. Route 17 motel. Bennett's stomach drops. He knows that motel, knows what kind of place that is. Weekly rates and broken locks and the kind of desperate that doesn't wash out of walls. He types, "Get in. I'll drive you." She doesn't move. That same doubt in her eyes. He types again, "Just a ride. Promise. Nothing else." She stares at the screen, at him, at the bags of food in the back seat. Then she gets in the passenger seat, buckles her seatbelt, sits with her hands folded in her lap and her eyes straight ahead, ready to jump out if this turns into the trap she's been expecting all along. Bennett closes her door, walks around to the driver's side, gets in, closes his door. They sit in silence for 3 seconds. Then Bennett's phone buzzes. Text from his assistant. "Board meeting in 15 minutes. Where are you?" He looks at the phone. Nyelle. At the choice he didn't know he'd have to make. Then he puts the phone face down in the cup holder and starts driving toward Route 17. When you finally help someone who needed it, why does it feel like you're the one being saved? The motel door hangs crooked on its hinges. Bennett sees it from the parking lot. Room 237, second floor. The number painted in peeling white against faded turquoise. The railing outside is rust-colored where it isn't missing entirely. 3 rooms down, a man in a stained undershirt leans against the wall smoking something that doesn't smell like tobacco. He watches Bennett's Range Rover pull in with the kind of attention that calculates resale value. Nyelle unbuckles her seatbelt before the car fully stops. Her hand is on the door handle, ready to run. Bennett kills the engine, gets out, opens the back door and grabs the grocery bags. Nyelle's already halfway up the exterior stairs, moving fast but quiet, like she's practiced being invisible. He follows. The stairs creak under his weight. The metal feels loose. A sign by the office reads, "Weekly rates available," in letters that were probably read once. Now they're the color of old blood. Nyelle stops at 237, pulls a key from her pocket. Actual metal key, not a card, and opens the door 6 inches. She slips inside like water through a crack. The door starts to close. Bennett catches it with his palm. She spins around, eyes wide, body tensed. Her hands come up, not to fight, but to protect her face. That instinct again, that muscle memory of being hit. Bennett freezes, holds up the grocery bags, points at them, points at her. Her shoulders drop, just slightly. She steps back, lets him in. The room smells like mildew and defeat. One bed is unmade, sheets twisted like someone fought with their dreams and lost. The other bed is empty except for a backpack with a broken zipper. The bathroom door hangs open, revealing mold creeping up the shower tile. The hot plate on the dresser sits next to a coffee maker with no pot and a microwave with a cracked door. Bennett sets the bags on the small table by the window. The table wobbles. One leg is shorter than the others. Nyelle doesn't move from her spot by the door. She watches him like he's a bomb with an unknown timer. Bennett pulls out his phone. Types, "Your mother?" Nyelle's face does something complicated. She looks at the unmade bed, at the bathroom, at the window where the curtain doesn't quite close. She shakes her head. Bennett types, "When will she be back?" Nyelle shrugs. The movement is so small he almost misses it. His chest tightens. He looks at this 8-year-old girl standing in a room that should be condemned, with a mother who leaves her alone in a place where the locks don't work and the neighbors deal drugs and the stairs might collapse under her weight. He types, Have you eaten today? She shakes her head. Bennett unpacks the bread, the peanut butter, opens the jar. The seal breaks with a sound that seems too loud in this quiet room. He spreads peanut butter on 2 slices, hands the sandwich to her. She takes it, doesn't eat it, just holds it. He types, "It's okay. I'm not going to take it back." She looks at the sandwich, at him. Then she takes a bite, small, careful, like she's testing whether food is allowed. Bennett's phone buzzes. His assistant again, then his lawyer, then someone from the board. He ignores all of them. He types, "Do you stay here alone a lot?" Nyelle chews slowly, swallows, nods. The buzzing gets louder, more insistent. Bennett turns the phone off completely, sits in the chair by the wobbling table, waits. Nyelle finishes half the sandwich, wraps the other half in a napkin, puts it on the counter like she's saving it for later, for when food might not come again. Bennett pulls out his wallet. Inside are 5 credit cards, 200 in cash, a license that's barely ever checked, and a business card from a restaurant he's never been to. He pulls out the cash, all of it, sets it on the table. Nyelle's eyes go wide. He types, "This is yours, for food, for whatever you need." She backs up, shakes her head. Her hands move fast, sign language he can't understand, but the meaning is clear. "No, too much, wrong." Bennett types, "You asked if the card could help others. This is me helping you." She keeps shaking her head. Her eyes are wet again. He types, "Please, take it." She won't touch it, won't even look at it. She backs up until she hits the wall, and she slides down it until she's sitting on the floor with her knees pulled to her chest. Bennett's phone screen is dark, but he can feel it vibrating in his pocket. His entire life is on that phone. Meetings, contracts, decisions that affect thousands of people, numbers that move markets. None of it matters right now. He crouches down. I level with her again, types slowly, "What do you need?" She looks at him for a long time. Then she reaches for her pencil and paper. Her hands shake as she writes. The pencil presses so hard the paper tears in one corner. She hands him the note. Says, "My mom." Bennett reads it twice, 3 times. The words don't change. He types, "Where is she?" Nyelle's face crumples. She buries it in her knees. Her shoulders shake, but no sound comes out. Just silence and shaking and a kind of grief that has no voice. Bennett sits on the floor next to her, not touching, just present. He watches the motel room breathe. The curtain moving in air from a crack in the window, dust floating in the shaft of light from outside, the sound of someone yelling 3 doors down. His phone vibrates again. A call this time. He can feel the urgency through the device. He pulls it out, looks at the screen. His assistant, 12 missed calls, 23 unread messages, an email from the board marked urgent. Bennett turns the phone completely off, puts it face down on the floor. Then he waits with this little girl who has no voice and no mother and no reason to trust him, but somehow, impossibly, does. After 10 minutes, she looks up. Her face is wet. Her eyes are red. She picks up the pencil again. The words come slowly this time, each letter careful. "Can you help me find her?" Bennett reads it again, thinks about the board meeting he's missing, the contracts unsigned, the empire he built that's currently running without him. Then he picks up his phone, turns it back on, and he types, "Yes. When helping one person means abandoning everything else you built, how do you choose what matters more?" Don't miss what happens next. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Share your thoughts below. Have you ever had to choose between what you built and who you could save? Your story might inspire someone who needs it today. The motel manager has a face like old leather and eyes that have seen too much to care anymore. Bennett stands at the counter in the office that smells like stale coffee and lies. Behind him, through the window, he can see Nyelle sitting in the Range Rover. She insisted on staying there. Safer, her note said. People leave cars alone more than they leave kids alone. The manager, name tag says Reggie, doesn't look up from his phone. Some game with bright colors and repetitive sounds. "Help you?" Room 237. Keisha Brooks. When did you last see her? Now Reggie looks up. His eyes narrow. Who's asking? Bennett pulls out his wallet, sets $200 bills on the counter. I am. The bills sit there. Reggie stares at them like they're a test he didn't study for. Can't give out tenant information. Privacy laws. Bennett adds another 100. Reggie's hand moves. The bills disappear into his pocket faster than his reflexes should allow. Keisha left yesterday morning. Guy picked her up. White sedan. Dented bumper. Didn't look back at the kid. What guy? Didn't ask his name. Didn't care. Reggie leans back in his chair. Squeaks. Look, Keisha pays weekly. Sometimes. When she's got it. When she doesn't, we work something out. You understand what I mean by work something out? Bennett's jaw tightens. How often does she leave the kid alone? Often enough the kid knows how to be quiet. Reggie shrugs. Not my problem. Long as the room's paid for. The room's paid for right now? Through Friday. I want to extend it. 1 month. Reggie's eyebrows rise. First sign of actual emotion. 1 month. Cash. Bennett pulls out more bills. Counts them. And I want to know the second Keisha comes back. You have my number now. He slides a business card across the counter. You see her, you call me. Immediately. Reggie takes the card. Looks at it. His expression shifts. Recognition, maybe? Or the beginning of understanding that this situation just became more complicated. You're Bennett Crossley. The Bennett Crossley. Yes. Why do you care about some motel kid and her junkie mom? Bennett's hand stops halfway to his wallet. Excuse me? Keisha's an addict. Whole floor knows it. Pills mostly. Sometimes the hard stuff. She's got a dealer boyfriend who likes little girls a bit too much. If you know what I'm saying. Reggie says it flat. No judgment. Just stating facts. CPS has been called 4 times. Nothing sticks. Kid's smart enough to lie. Mom's smart enough to clean up before the visits. System doesn't care if nobody's dying yet. The air in the office feels too thick. Bennett breathes through his nose. Who's the boyfriend? Name's Devin. Devin Price. Drives a white Impala with a dented rear bumper and a cross hanging from the mirror like Jesus forgives dealing meth to single mothers. Where can I find him? Reggie laughs. Not the nice kind. You planning to do something stupid? Where can I find him? He deals out of a house on Brookside Avenue, number 47. Blue house, bars on the windows, pit bull in the yard. Reggie leans forward. But if you're smart and you look like you might be, you'll forget about Keisha Brooks. Girl's already lost. Kid'll end up in foster care eventually. That's just how this goes. Bennett picks up the business card, slides it back across the counter. Call me when she returns. Not if. When. He walks out. The door closes behind him with a sound like finality. Nyelle's watching him through the Range Rover window. Her face is a question. Bennett gets in the driver's seat. Sits there. His hands grip the steering wheel so hard his knuckles go white. He should leave. Should call CPS himself. Should let the system handle this the way the system handles everything. Slowly, inefficiently, and with maximum damage to the people it's supposed to protect. He should go back to his life, his meetings, his empire, his controlled world where problems get solved with money and contracts and people who do what they're told. He pulls out his phone, opens the GPS types in Brookside Avenue. Nyelle taps his shoulder. He turns. She's holding her pencil and paper. The note says, "Where are we going?" Bennett takes the pencil. Writes underneath to find your mom. Nyelle's eyes go wide. She shakes her head. Fast. Urgent. She grabs the pencil back. No. She underlines it 3 times. Not safe. He hurts people. Bennett reads it again. Looks at this little girl who's trying to protect him from the same danger she lives with every day. He types on his phone. I'm not letting you go back to that room alone while your mom is with someone who hurts people. She reads it. Her face does something complicated. Fear, hope, doubt, all of it at once. She writes, you don't know him. You don't know what he does. Bennett writes back, then tell me. She stares at the paper. The pencil hovers over it. Her hand shakes. Then she writes 3 words that make Bennett's blood run cold. He touches me. The world narrows to those 3 words. The steering wheel feels too solid. The air too thin. Every sound too loud. Bennett looks at Nyelle. Really looks at her. The way she sits with her back against the door. The way she flinches at unexpected movement. The way she watches everything like she's calculating escape routes. He types, "Has he hurt you?" She won't look at him. Won't answer. Just stares at her hands in her lap. He types, "Nyelle, has he hurt you?" She nods. Once. Small. Like admitting it might make it more real. Bennett's vision blurs at the edges. Not from tears. From rage. The kind that comes from somewhere deep and primal and completely outside his control. He closes his eyes. Counts to 10. Breathes. When he opens them, his hands are steady. His voice is calm. He types, "I need you to stay in the car. Lock the doors. Don't open them for anyone except me. Understand?" Nyelle's eyes go wide. She grabs his arm. Shakes her head. Writes quickly, "No. Don't go. Please. He has a gun. He'll hurt you. Please." Bennett looks at her hand on his arm. Small fingers. Broken nails. The grip of someone who's lost too many people already. He gently removes her hand. Types, "I'm not leaving you alone with him in the world. Not anymore." She's crying now. Silent tears down her face. She writes, "You don't have to do this. I'm nobody. I'm just..." Bennett takes the pencil. Crosses out her words. Writes in big letters, "You are not nobody." Then he opens his door. Steps out. Looks back at her one more time. She's still crying. Still shaking. Still looking at him like he's about to walk into a fire he can't survive. Maybe she's right. But Bennett closes the door anyway. Hits the lock button. Hears the Range Rover beep twice as the locks engage. Then he starts walking toward the blue house with bars on the windows. What happens when the person who never let anyone close finally finds someone worth breaking all his rules for? Subscribe now. The next chapter drops soon, and you won't want to miss what happens when Bennett faces Devon. Drop a comment about a time you stood up for someone when everyone said to walk away. Your story matters. The pit bull starts barking before Bennett reaches the gate. The house at 47 Brookside Avenue looks exactly like Reggie described. Blue paint peeling off rotting wood. Bars welded over every window. Chain link fence with a gate held closed by a padlock that's newer than anything else on the property. The dog is massive, all muscle and teeth, throwing itself against the fence hard enough to make the metal rattle. Bennett stops 6 feet back. Studies the house. The windows are dark, but there's a light on somewhere inside. A white Impala sits in the driveway. Dented rear bumper. Cross hanging from the mirror. He pulls out his phone. Texts his lawyer. Need police at 47 Brookside Avenue in 20 minutes. Send them no matter what you hear from me next. 3 dots appear. Then, what are you doing? Bennett doesn't answer. Just puts the phone on silent and slides it back into his pocket. He walks to the gate. The dog lunges again, snarling, foam at the corners of its mouth. The chain around its neck pulls tight. Bennett can see where the collar has rubbed the fur away, leaving raw skin underneath. The front door opens. A man steps out. White, mid-30s, thin in a way that suggests chemicals more than choice. Tank top. Jeans slung low. Tattoos covering both arms. Crosses mixed with skulls mixed with words Bennett can't read from here. His face has that particular hardness that comes from hurting people and not caring. The hell you want? Devon's voice is rough. Cigarette smoke and late nights. Keisha Brooks. Devon's eyes narrow. He takes a step forward. The dog quiets slightly, sensing its owner's attention. Who's asking? Someone who knows she has a daughter. Yeah? So? Devon crosses his arms. There's a bulge at his waistband. Gun, probably. Keisha's busy. Come back never. Bennett doesn't move. She left her 8-year-old daughter alone in a motel room for 2 days. That's neglect. That's endangerment. That's something I can have police here for in about 15 minutes. Devin laughs. The sound has no humor in it. You a cop? No. Social worker? No. Then get lost before I make you get lost. Devin's hand moves to his waistband. This is private property. You're trespassing. I got rights. So does Nyelle. The name makes Devin's expression change. Just for a second. Recognition. Then something darker. The deaf kid? That what this is about. He spits on the ground. Little freak can't hear, can't talk, can barely function. Keisha should have given her up years ago. Would have saved everyone trouble. Bennett's hands ball into fists. He forces them open. Where's Keisha? None of your business. It became my business when her daughter asked me to find her. Devin laughs again. Harder this time. Oh, this is good. This is real good. Let me guess, you're one of those rich guys who gets off playing savior? Saw a poor black kid and decided to feel good about yourself. He takes another step forward. The gate is between them, but it wouldn't take much to change that. Here's reality, suit. Keisha's mine. Kid's mine by extension. You got no claim, no rights, no say. So walk away while you still can. Keisha's a person, not property. Keisha's an addict who does what I say because I'm what keeps her supplied. You want to save her? Good luck. She chose this. Devin's hand is definitely on the gun now. And the kid? Kid's damaged goods. System will chew her up and spit her out. At least with Keisha, she's got a roof. Bennett takes a step closer. Close enough to smell the cigarette smoke. Close enough to see the pupils too wide for daylight. Touch that child again and I'll destroy you. Devin's face shifts. The smile drops. You threatening me? I'm promising you. For 3 seconds, nobody moves. The dog has gone quiet, watching its owner. The street is empty except for a car passing 2 blocks away. Somewhere a television plays too loud. Then Devin pulls the gun. Not all the way out. Just enough so Bennett can see it. Black metal. Probably a 9mm. See this? This is what happens to people who make promises they can't keep. Now get off my property before I decide trespassing needs a permanent solution. Bennett doesn't move. Shoot me and you go to prison. Threaten me and I have it on recording. He pulls his phone out. The screen shows it's been recording audio for the last 3 minutes. Every word you just said, every admission, every threat. My lawyer has instructions to send this straight to police if I don't check in within the hour. Devin's face goes white, then red. The gun comes out fully now, pointed at Bennett's chest. You think you're smart? You think money protects you? His hand shakes. Anger. Or drugs. Or both. I could shoot you right now. Claim self-defense. Rich guy trespassing on my property. Threatening me. No witnesses. My word against a dead man's. Except the recording. And the lawyer who already knows where I am. And the police will be here in... Bennett checks his watch. 12 minutes. Devin's breathing gets faster. The gun wavers. His fingers on the trigger. The dog starts barking again, feeding off its owner's energy. Bennett speaks quietly, clearly. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to let Keisha leave. You're going to stay away from her and her daughter, forever. And I'm going to walk away without pressing charges for threatening me with a deadly weapon. Or what? Or I buy this house, and the 4 houses around it, and I evict everyone, and I make sure every dealer you know, every connection you have, every person who tolerates your existence knows you're the reason their world got complicated. Bennett's voice doesn't rise, doesn't need to. I have more money than you can imagine and more spite than you can survive. Your choice. The gun doesn't move. Devin's jaw works. His eyes dart to the house, back to Bennett, to the phone still recording. Then he lowers the gun, slightly. Keisha! He yells without turning around. Get out here. Nothing happens. Now! The door opens. A woman stumbles out. Black, thin like Devin but worse, wearing clothes that don't fit right. Her hair is pulled back but pieces fall in her face. Her eyes are unfocused. She blinks at the daylight like it hurts. Keisha Brooks looks nothing like her daughter. Nothing except the shape of her face and the way she moves, careful like the world might collapse if she steps wrong. This guy says he knows Nyelle, Devin says. The gun is still in his hand, still visible. Says he's gonna take you away from here. That what you want? Keisha looks at Bennett. Her eyes struggle to focus. Who are you? Someone who gave your daughter a credit card because she was hungry and you weren't there. Keisha's face crumples. She's okay? She's alive. That's not the same as okay. I was coming back. I just needed... She looks at Devin, back at Bennett. Her hands shake. I just needed to feel normal for a few hours. Just a few hours where everything doesn't hurt. Your daughter is 8 years old, deaf, living alone in a motel room with a door that doesn't lock. While you're here getting high with a man who touches her. Bennett's voice cuts like broken glass. Tell me what part of that is normal. Keisha staggers back like she's been hit. He doesn't... I didn't know he... You knew. Bennett says it flat. Final. Maybe you didn't want to know. Maybe you couldn't face it. But you knew. Tears run down Keisha's face. She doesn't wipe them away. I'm her mother. Then act like it. Devin steps between them. Gun raised again. That's enough. Keisha's not going anywhere. She's got nowhere to go. No job. No money. No way to take care of that kid even if she wanted to. You think you're saving her? You're just making it worse. Bennett looks at Keisha. Is that true? You want to stay? Keisha doesn't answer. Just stands there crying, shaking, looking at Devin like he's gravity and she can't figure out how to stop falling. Last chance, Bennett says. I have a lawyer, resources, a way out, but you have to choose it. Right now, no second chances. The silence stretches. The dog has gone quiet again. The street is still empty. Bennett can hear his own heartbeat in his ears. Then Keisha shakes her head. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't. Something in Bennett's chest goes cold. You're choosing drugs over your daughter. I'm choosing survival. Keisha's voice breaks. You don't understand. You can't understand. This is all I have left. Bennett looks at her. Really looks. Sees a woman who's already dead. Just hasn't stopped breathing yet. Sees a mother who lost herself so completely she can't find her way back even when her child is the map. He turns to leave. Devin laughs. That's right. Walk away. You can't save people who don't want saving. Bennett stops. Turns back. You're right. I can't save her. But I can save Nyelle. And when I do, when I have full custody and Keisha's parental rights are terminated, when that little girl is safe and fed and away from both of you. He looks at Devin, at the gun, at the house that smells like chemicals and failure. I'm going to remember this conversation, and I'm going to make sure you remember it too. Then he walks away, doesn't run, doesn't look back. Behind him, Devin yells something. The dog starts barking. Keisha might be crying. Bennett keeps walking, back to his Range Rover, back to Nyelle who's pressed against the window watching everything, probably reading lips, definitely terrified. He gets in the car, locks the doors. His hands shake as he grips the steering wheel. Nyelle taps his shoulder. She's holding her paper. One word written in big letters. MOM? Bennett looks at her, at those eyes that have seen too much, at that hope that refuses to die even when it should. He takes the pencil, writes. She's not ready to be saved. Nyelle reads it. Her face goes blank. Then she turns away, facing the window, and her whole body shakes with sobs that make no sound. Bennett sits there, in a car that costs more than most people's houses, next to a little girl whose mother just chose drugs over her. Again, his phone buzzes. His lawyer, police en route. What's happening? Bennett types, change of plans. I need family court attorney. Best one you know. And I need them now. The response comes immediately. Why? Bennett looks at Nyelle, still crying, still silent, still trapped in a world that keeps failing her. He types, because I'm keeping her. When everyone says you can't save someone, how do you prove them wrong when the person you're saving doesn't believe they deserve it? Hit subscribe. Turn on notifications. The final chapters drop next, and you need to see how this ends. Comment below. Have you ever had to save someone from their own family? Share your story. Someone needs to hear it. The emergency custody hearing happens in a courtroom that smells like old wood and broken promises. Bennett sits at a table with his lawyer, Maria Chun, family law specialist, $500 an hour, reputation for winning cases that shouldn't be winnable. She wears a gray suit and an expression that suggests she's seen worse situations than this, but not many. Across the room sits a public defender who looks barely 30. He's representing Keisha Brooks, who isn't here. She didn't show. The defender keeps glancing at the door like she might materialize if he wishes hard enough. The judge is a black woman in her 60s named Carolyn Price. She's reading through the emergency petition Bennett filed 6 hours ago. Her face gives nothing away. Nyelle sits in the hallway with a social worker. She wanted to be in the courtroom, but Maria said no. Said the judge wouldn't want the child hearing what gets said about her mother, about her life, about whether she's better off with a stranger who has money or a system that's already failed her 3 times before. Judge Price looks up. Mr. Crossley, this is unusual. Yes, Your Honor. You've known this child for approximately, she checks the paperwork, 8 hours. Yes, Your Honor. And in those 8 hours, you've decided to petition for emergency custody, full custody, permanent placement. She sets the papers down. Walk me through your reasoning. Bennett stands. Maria told him to let her do the talking, but he can't. Not for this. I found Nyelle yesterday in a grocery store. She was hungry, alone, trying to ask for help using a note because she's deaf and nobody was listening. I gave her my credit card for an hour, told her to buy food. That's an interesting decision. It was an impulsive decision, but it led me to discover she's living in a weekly rate motel with a mother who's an addict, a mother who left her alone for 2 days, a mother who has a boyfriend with a criminal record that includes assault and distribution. He pauses. A boyfriend who has been sexually abusing Nyelle. The courtroom goes very quiet. Judge Price's expression shifts. You have evidence of this abuse? Maria stands. We have a written statement from the child. We have testimony from the motel manager confirming the mother's drug use and frequent absences. We have documentation that CPS has been called 4 times and no action was taken. We have medical records showing Nyelle hasn't seen a doctor in 2 years despite being deaf and needing ongoing care. And where is Ms. Brooks? The public defender clears his throat. Your Honor, my client was unable to appear today due to being high at her dealer's house. Bennett interrupts. I was there this morning. I saw her. I offered her help, resources, a way out. She chose to stay. Judge Price leans back in her chair. Mr. Crossley, I appreciate your concern for this child, but jumping from, I gave her a credit card, to I want full custody in 8 hours raises questions. What's your experience with children? With special needs children specifically? With the deaf community? None. Do you understand what you're asking for? This isn't a rescue mission that ends when you write a check. This is a human being who will need stability, therapy, education, specialized care for the rest of her childhood and beyond. Judge Price's voice is firm. Not unkind, but firm. This is a commitment that doesn't have an expiration date. Bennett meets her eyes. I understand. Do you? Because I've seen wealthy people play savior before. It lasts until the reality gets hard. Until the child has a meltdown in public or therapy bills pile up or their friends ask uncomfortable questions. Then suddenly the commitment isn't as appealing. She leans forward. I need to know this isn't about your ego. I need to know you're not using this child to feel better about yourself. The words hit like punches. Maria touches his arm, a warning to stay calm. But Bennett doesn't feel calm. He feels exposed. Seen. Your Honor, can I tell you about my mother? Judge Price nods slowly. She left when I was 7. Walked out one Tuesday and never came back. My father was there but not present. I grew up in a house with 17 rooms and no people in them. I learned to take care of myself because nobody else was going to. Bennett's voice stays steady even though his hands aren't. I built a life based on never needing anyone, never letting anyone close, control over connection every single time. And how does that qualify you to parent a traumatized 8-year-old? It doesn't. Bennett says it flat. Honest. I don't know anything about parenting. I don't know sign language. I don't know how to braid hair or pack school lunches or any of the things parents are supposed to know. He pauses. But I know what it feels like to be invisible. I know what it's like to be in a room full of people and still be alone. I know what hunger feels like when it's not about food. The courtroom is silent. When I saw Nyelle holding that note, 3 sentences asking for help, I saw myself at 7, and I thought, not this time, not again, not while I can do something about it. Bennett looks at the judge. You're right, this might be about my ego. It might be about trying to save the kid I used to be. But even if that's true, Nyelle still gets saved. And that matters more than my motives. Judge Price studies him for a long moment. The court appreciates your honesty, Mr. Crossley. But honesty isn't the same as qualification. Maria stands again. Your Honor, Mr. Crossley has already retained specialists. A sign language tutor starts tomorrow. A therapist who works specifically with deaf children who've experienced trauma. An educational consultant to help with school placement. He's liquidated assets to create a trust fund for Nyelle's care that continues regardless of his involvement. He's done more in 8 hours than the system has done in 8 years. Throwing money at a problem isn't the same as solving it. No, Your Honor, but it's a start. And right now, the alternative is sending Nyelle back to a motel room where her mother won't be and her abuser knows where to find her. Maria's voice hardens. Or we place her in emergency foster care where she'll be one of 200 deaf children in a system with exactly 3 qualified foster homes. Where she'll likely bounce between placements. Where statistically she'll age out at 18 with no support system and a high risk of homelessness. Judge Price looks at the paperwork again. At the photos attached, the motel room, the torn dress, the note written in pencil on trashcan paper. Then she looks at Bennett. If I grant this, and that's a significant if, you understand there will be oversight. Regular home visits, court reviews. Any sign you're not meeting this child's needs, and she'll be removed immediately. I understand. You understand this child has been through trauma that will take years to process. That she'll have nightmares, trust issues, behavioral challenges. That loving her won't be enough when she's screaming in the middle of the night because her brain is trying to process what was done to her. I understand. Do you? Because I need you to really hear me, Mr. Crossley. This isn't a business deal you can negotiate. This is a human being who has been failed by every adult in her life. If you fail her too, the damage won't be something money can fix. Bennett thinks about Nyelle pressed against the Range Rover window, watching him walk toward Devon's house. Thinks about her note. You don't have to do this. I'm nobody. He thinks about spending 34 years building walls to protect himself from ever feeling what he's feeling right now. Your Honor, I will fail her. Probably often. Probably in ways I can't predict. But I won't abandon her. I won't choose anything over her safety. And I won't let her believe she's nobody ever again. His voice catches. That has to count for something. Judge Price is quiet for what feels like an hour but is probably 30 seconds. Then she signs the emergency custody order. Temporary placement for 30 days. Home visits start immediately. Therapy requirements are non-negotiable. School enrollment within 1 week. And Mr. Crossley, she looks at him over her reading glasses. If you hurt this child, I will personally ensure you regret it. Clear? Clear, Your Honor. Then bring her in. She should hear this from me. Maria goes to get Nyelle. Bennett stays frozen at the table. His hands shake. His chest feels too tight. Everything he built, the control, the walls, the careful distance, just collapsed and he can't remember why he thought any of that mattered. The door opens. Nyelle walks in with the social worker. She sees Bennett. Her eyes go wide. Question and hope and fear all mixed together. Judge Price waves her forward. Speaks slowly, clearly, making sure Nyelle can read her lips. Nyelle, Do you understand why you're here? Nyelle nods. Mr. Crossley has asked to take care of you, for now and possibly for always. Is that something you want? Nyelle looks at Bennett, at the judge, at the social worker. Her hands twist together. Then she pulls out her pencil and paper, writes 4 words, shows them to the judge. Will he stay? The question breaks something in the room. The social worker wipes her eyes. Maria looks away. Even the public defender who barely knows this case has to clear his throat. Judge Price reads the note. Then she looks at Bennett. Will you? Bennett walks to Nyelle, crouches down so they're eye level, takes the pencil, writes on her paper. Yes, promise, I stay. Nyelle reads it again. Her eyes fill with tears. She looks at him like she's trying to decide if promises from adults mean anything anymore. Then she nods. Once, small, but it's enough. Judge Price signs the order. Temporary custody granted. 30 days. Then we reconvene. She looks at Bennett one more time. Don't make me regret this. I won't, Your Honor. They leave the courtroom together. Bennett and Nyelle and Maria, who's already on her phone scheduling home visits and therapy appointments and everything else that comes with suddenly being responsible for a human life. Outside, the sun is setting. The courthouse steps are empty except for them. Nyelle tugs Bennett's sleeve. She's holding her paper again. Where do we go now? Bennett looks at her. At this little girl who's been through hell and still manages to ask questions with hope in them. He writes home. We go home. She reads it. Then, where is home? Bennett pauses, thinks about his penthouse that's never had a child in it, never had noise or mess or life, thinks about the guest rooms that have never been used, the kitchen that's never cooked family meals, the space that's always been empty because empty was safe. He writes, wherever you are, that's home now. Nyelle stares at the words, at him. Then she does something unexpected. She reaches out and takes his hand. Her grip is small, uncertain, like she might let go at any second. But she doesn't let go. They walk to the Range Rover together, hand in hand. A billionaire who never learned how to love and an 8-year-old who's forgotten how to trust. And somehow, impossibly, it feels like the first right thing Bennett's done in 34 years. When you finally let someone past your walls, how do you teach them they're safe when you're still learning that lesson yourself? Don't miss the final chapter. Subscribe now, turn on notifications, and tell us in the comments, what does home mean to you? Your answer might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. 3 months later, Bennett Crossley stands in a kitchen that finally smells like something other than expensive emptiness. Pancakes, burning slightly because he still can't master the timing. Coffee. Orange juice spilled on the counter because Nyelle tried to pour it herself and the jug was heavier than she expected. The morning sun coming through windows that now have drawings taped to them. Crayon pictures of houses and people and a dog Nyelle wants but Bennett hasn't agreed to yet. Nyelle sits at the table in pajamas that actually fit. Her hair is braided. Bennett learned from YouTube videos at 2 in the morning when he couldn't sleep. She's reading a book in sign language, fingers moving through the story, face animated in ways it wasn't 3 months ago. She looks up. Signs. Pancakes burning. Bennett spins around. Smoke rises from the pan. He grabs the spatula, flips the pancake. It's dark brown, probably inedible. He plates it anyway, sets it in front of her with syrup. She makes a face. Signs, this is bad. He signs back, slowly, still learning. Yes, very bad. Eat anyway. She laughs. The sound is strange. She can't hear herself, so it comes out louder than she intends. Uneven, but it's real. It's hers. And it's the most beautiful sound Bennett's ever heard. His phone buzzes. Maria Chin. He answers. Judge Price signed the final adoption papers, she says without preamble. It's official. She's yours. Bennett leans against the counter. His legs feel weak. Official. Congratulations. You're a father. Maria's voice is warm, proud even. The court was impressed with the progress reports. The therapy sessions are going well. School placement is working. Home visits have been glowing. You did it, Bennett. We did it. No, you did. I just filed paperwork. You showed up every single day, even when it was hard, especially when it was hard. She pauses. I've been doing this 20 years. I've seen a lot of people try to save kids. Most don't make it past month 2. You're different. Bennett watches Nyelle eat the terrible pancake without complaint. She's different. She made it easy. Traumatized 8-year-olds don't make anything easy. But you learned her language. Literally. You learned sign language in 3 months. You go to therapy with her. You changed your entire life. Maria's voice gets softer. That's not easy. That's love. The word sits heavy in Bennett's chest. Love. He spent 34 years convinced he didn't know how. Convinced he was broken in a way that couldn't be fixed. Convinced protecting himself was the only option. Then a little girl with no voice taught him that love isn't something you know how to do. It's something you choose. Every single day. Even when you're terrified. Thank you, Maria. Thank you for proving me wrong. I didn't think you'd make it. She laughs. But you did. So now what? Bennett looks at Nyelle. At his daughter. The word still feels foreign, but it's starting to fit. Now we figure out what normal looks like. He hangs up. Signs to Nyelle, good news. She puts down her fork. Signs, what? He doesn't know the sign for adoption. So he fingerspells it. Then signs you, me, family, forever, official. Nyelle's face goes through several expressions. Confusion, understanding, disbelief. Then something that looks like hope but scared to be hope in case it's wrong. She signs. Forever? Bennett nods. Forever. She stands up, walks around the table, stops in front of him. Her eyes are wet. She signs. You promise? Really promise? He kneels down. I level, the way he always does. Signs. Promise. I stay. Always. She throws her arms around his neck. Holds on like he might disappear if she lets go. Her body shakes with sobs that make no sound, but he feels every single one. Bennett holds her back. This small person who survived things that should have broken her. Who trusted him when she had every reason not to. Who taught him that fixing yourself and saving someone else can be the same thing. You saved me too, he whispers, knowing she can't hear him but saying it anyway. You know that, right? You saved me too. She pulls back. Signs, what did you say? He signs. Thank you for teaching me how to be brave. She smiles. Then signs. You were always brave. You just forgot. The words hit him square in the chest. Because she's right. He wasn't broken. He was just protecting himself from being hurt again. And in doing that, he made himself small, safe, alone. Nyelle made him remember what it felt like to be big, to take up space, to matter. His phone buzzes again. His assistant, then his lawyer, then someone from the board. All of them want things, meetings, decisions. The empire he built that still runs because money doesn't stop moving just because your life changes completely. Bennett looks at the phone, at the messages, at the life that used to be everything. Then he turns it off, puts it in a drawer, signs to Nyelle, today is for us. No work, no phone, just us. Her eyes go wide. Signs. Really? Really? What do you want to do? Nyelle thinks for a moment, then signs. Can we get a dog? Bennett laughs. Signs, maybe. Let's start with better pancakes. They spend the morning in the kitchen. Bennett teaches Nyelle how to crack eggs. She breaks 4 before getting 1 right. She teaches him a sign language song her teacher showed her. They make a mess. They laugh. They exist in a space where nothing matters except right now. Around noon, there's a knock at the door. Bennett opens it. A woman stands there. Black, thin, shaking. Her eyes are clearer than they were 3 months ago but still haunted. Keisha Brooks. Bennett's body goes rigid. His hand moves toward his phone before he remembers he turned it off. How did you get this address? I asked the social worker. Begged, actually. Keisha's voice is hoarse. She looks past Bennett into the apartment. Is she here? Can I see her? No. Please. I'm clean. 30 days clean. I'm in a program. I'm trying. I just want to see my daughter. Just for a minute. Tears run down her face. Please. I know I don't deserve it. I know I'm the worst mother in the world. But she's my baby. Please. Bennett wants to slam the door. Wants to tell her she gave up that right when she chose drugs. When she chose a man who hurt her child. When she looked at Bennett and said she couldn't leave. But then Nyelle appears behind him. She sees her mother. Her face goes through a dozen emotions in 3 seconds. She signs to Bennett, "Mom?" Bennett signs, "Yes. She wants to see you. Do you want to see her?" Nyelle looks at Keisha. Bennett. Her hands twist together, that old nervous habit that's mostly gone but comes back in moments like this. Then she signs, 5 minutes. Bennett signs, "Are you sure?" She nods. He steps aside, lets Keisha in, but he doesn't leave the room. He stands by the window where he can see everything, where he can intervene if this goes wrong. Keisha and Nyelle stare at each other, 3 feet apart. An ocean of mistakes between them. "Hi, baby," Keisha says. Her hands shake. "You look good, healthy. Are they treating you okay?" Nyelle doesn't sign, doesn't move. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know that doesn't mean anything. I know I can't fix what I did, but I'm trying to be better. I'm in meetings every day. I'm learning how to be a person again." Keisha's voice breaks. "I never stopped loving you, even when I was high, even when I was with him. I never stopped loving you. I just didn't know how to show it." Nyelle's hands move slowly. She signs, "You left me." Keisha doesn't understand sign language. Looks at Bennett. "What did she say?" Bennett translates. Flat. Factual. Keisha's face crumples. I know I did, and I can't take it back. All I can do is promise I'll never leave again. If you give me another chance. If you let me try." Nyelle signs, "No." The word hangs in the air. Keisha looks at Bennett. "What did she say?" "She said no." "No what?" Bennett looks at Nyelle. Signs. "Do you want to tell her?" Nyelle nods. She signs slowly, making sure Bennett can translate. "I love you, but I can't trust you. You chose drugs. You chose him. You chose everything except me. And maybe someday that changes. Maybe someday you're really better. But not today. Today I choose me." Bennett translates word for word. His voice stays steady even though his chest is tight. Keisha sobs. Full body sobs that double her over. "I understand. I do. But please. Please don't give up on me. I'm still your mother. I'm still." Nyelle signs, "You're still my mother. But he's my dad now." She points at Bennett. The word dad hits him like a truck. She's never called him that before. Always Bennett. Always his name. Never dad. Bennett translates it to Keisha. Watches her face break completely. "Okay," Keisha whispers. "Okay, I understand." She backs toward the door. Can I write to you? Can I call sometimes? Can I just know you're okay?" Nyelle looks at Bennett. He signs, "Your choice. Whatever you want." She thinks for a long moment, then signs, "Letters. Once a month. If you stay clean." Bennett translates. Keisha nods frantically. Yes, I'll write. I'll stay clean. Promise. I'll prove it to you. I'll prove I can be better." Nyelle signs, "Good. I hope so. Goodbye, Mom." The finality in that goodbye is clear even without translation. Keisha leaves. The door closes. Silence fills the apartment. Nyelle stands in the middle of the living room. Her hands shake. Her breathing is too fast. Then she runs to Bennett and buries her face in his chest and cries in a way she hasn't cried in 3 months. He holds her, lets her break, lets her mourn the mother she wanted and the mother she got, lets her feel all of it without trying to fix it. After 10 minutes, she pulls back. Signs, "I called you Dad." He signs, "I heard. Is that okay?" His eyes burn. He blinks hard. Signs, "That's more than okay. That's everything." She smiles through tears. Signs, "Good, because you're stuck with me now. Forever." Forever, he signs back, and means it with every part of himself he thought was too broken to love anyone. That night, after Nyelle goes to bed, Bennett sits in his office. The one room in the apartment he hasn't changed. Still sterile, still controlled, still full of evidence of the life he built to protect himself. He pulls out a box from the bottom desk drawer. Inside is a photo of his mother. The only one he kept. She's smiling in it. Young, beautiful, happy. He looks at it for a long time. Then he writes on the back, "You were wrong. Leaving doesn't protect anyone. It just leaves scars." He puts the photo back, closes the drawer. Then he goes to Nyelle's room. She's asleep, but her nightlight is on. She still can't sleep in complete darkness. Still wakes up sometimes confused about where she is. But she's getting better, healing in the way only time and safety can heal. Bennett sits in the chair by her bed, the one he bought specifically for nights when she has bad dreams. When she needs to know someone's there, he watches her breathe. This small person who changed everything, who taught him that being vulnerable isn't weakness, that letting people in doesn't mean they'll destroy you, that love is terrifying and messy and the only thing worth doing. She opens one eye, sees him, signs sleepily. "You okay?" He signs, "Yes, just making sure you are. I'm good." She yawns. "Stay? Always." She smiles, closes her eyes, goes back to sleep. Bennett stays in the chair, watches the nightlight cast shadows on the wall, thinks about the man he was 8 months ago, the one who controlled everything, who trusted nothing, who thought safety meant being alone. That man is gone, and Bennett doesn't miss him at all. His phone, the one he turned off, sits in the kitchen drawer. His empire is somewhere out there, still running, still making money, still expecting him to show up and play the role of ruthless businessman. But tomorrow he'll take Nyelle to the park. They'll practice her new signs. They'll get ice cream even though it's almost winter. They'll exist in a world where the most important thing isn't money or power or control. It's showing up every single day for one person who needs you to. That's success. That's winning. That's everything. When you spend your whole life running from love because you're afraid of being hurt, what happens when you finally stop running? You discover that the person you were protecting yourself from becoming is exactly who you needed to be all along. Thank you for following Bennett and Nyelle's journey. If the story moved you, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our next inspiring story. Share your thoughts in the comments. What does it mean to you to finally find home? Your story might be exactly what someone needs to hear today. Remember, every person you help, every life you change, changes you too. And that's the real miracle.